Okay, so here we are with the Overloud EQP Pultec emulation. So you've got both the mid-range and the low and high unit here, and it's got an input and output level clipper thing here. But what interests me is these two, and what we're going to have a look at is these two. So what I thought I'd do, because I think most people are familiar with the general controls of how this works, so I'm not going to go through that. But what I thought we'd do is listen to kick drum and snare and see what kind of sounds we can get from these on those two. So I'm going to start by playing drums, drum recording here, and then I'm going to start here with the kick, and then I'll move over here to the snare. So right now I'll bypass them both, and then I'm going to bring them in, but the settings are going to be flat. There's a slight curve here with the settings at 0, but it's not too huge, but you'll probably notice some change in the sound just because this does add harmonics. Okay, so I'm going to start with the kick drum, which I'm going to do here, and then after that I'll work on the snare. So I'll start with the bypass, and I'll bring it in, and I'll start working on the EQ. So completely transformed the kick drum sound, and obviously I've done a lot of EQing here, but to me it's done a great job with this kick drum. It really sounds weighty. It's got that real sub weight to it, and it's got a really nice click, a nice smooth sounding click, and I think it will really cut through nicely in a mix where, you know, you'll hear that click but you'll have that weight behind it. Obviously in an actual mix I'd be doing this, listening to everything else and tailoring it to the mix, but just for the sake of being able to hear it clearly, I'm doing it soloed. So it sounds really, really great. I have to say I've not got these kind of results with any other emulation that I've tried, any other Pultec emulation I've tried. And as I said, I've tried quite a few of them, and they've been kind of, you know, quite good, but not grabbing me enough to really use them. This one absolutely does. It just has all the stuff that I've always hoped to get from a Pultec. So yeah, fantastic from my perspective, and really great for getting that kind of a kick drum sound. I'm going to do another video where I compare it to an SSL, just because they sound really different. They're like apples and oranges in a sense. and I really like SSLs on drums as well, but they give you a very different flavor. And it'll be interesting, I think, to compare the two, not because one's better than the other at all, but just because they're both, very different approaches. So let's move over now to the snare. So, as you can hear, a real transformation of the snare again, and it's given it a really beefy but punchy sounding snare. Brought out a really nice aspect of the tone, I felt, of the snare, the body of the snare. So yeah, I was impressed with this. I can't think of another EQ that would give me that. Certainly an SSL, which I love using on snares, wouldn't give me that kind of a sound. So yeah, hats off to Overloud for a really great emulation. First time I've really taken to a Pultec emulation. And yeah, complex curves, which you can see, and I think that really helps. It helps me being able to see what's going on. It's always pretty tricky using a Pultec because you can't see what you're doing and you have to kind of imagine it. And here you can see it, and really makes quite a difference in getting there quickly. So I like that aspect of it. I'm going to do a separate video, and as you'll see, I match this EQ shape, not these exact ones. We're going to match an EQ shape with a clean EQ, just so you can hear the difference. It really does sound different. So I do recommend you check this one out, even if you've heard a load of Pultec emulations before, like I have. This one to me is one I'm going to actually use regularly. So that's saying something, because I've tried so many of them out and I've never taken to any of them. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, do give the video a like and ring the bell and subscribe, and hope to see you next time.